Hey guys, it's Sam and this is Top 5 Wednesday. If you are new to Top 5 Wednesday, I will leave a link to the Goodreads group down below for topics and such. This week's topic is our favorite non-written novel, so I had a hard time actually naming this one, but it's basically books that aren't in written typical novel form. They're like audiobooks, they are manga, they are comics, graphic novels, stuff like that. So these are some of our favorites in different media forms than the typical bound novel. And I actually only have audiobooks and graphic novels on this list because those are the other forms of media that I tend to ingest, but I want to get into manga this year. So before we even set anything off, comment below and let me know if there's any manga that you feel like I should read that I'd really like and why you think I would like that. Not just your favorites, because I might not just like your favorites. You know, ones that you feel like would appeal to me because they're like dark and twisty or they are really lady focused or whatever. You know, stuff like that. I do plan on reading Sailor Moon, obviously, because I grew up on Sailor Moon, so reading Sailor Moon is like a good introduction for sure, but any other ones that you think I'd be into, let me know. So number 5 is Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore, and this is an audiobook this is actually, I believe, the first audiobook I ever listened to, and I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. I was so into it. I loved all the character voices. I loved the jokes. I think it worked so well in audiobook form, and it just felt so magical because it's one of those books that makes you feel like magic is hiding right around the corner, and the audiobook and the narration really evoked that feeling for me, so I just adore this audiobook. Number 4 is Monsters by Marjorie Liu, which I've talked about a ton in a bunch of different videos recently because I just read it the end of December and I'm just obsessed with it. But it is one of my favorite graphic novel series right now, and it's just everything that I could possibly really want in a graphic novel series. It has beautiful art. The art is very much like it is on this cover. It has a ton of different themes that I just tend to really enjoy. It's very dark. It has gory moments at times, which is not something I typically enjoy, but I really like in this particular world. There are a lot of strong female characters and just females in leadership roles across the board in any part of this society. There is discussion of religion. There is influence from different Japanese cultural elements. There is this mix of science and magic happening. There are humans interacting with gods. There are these race of people called Arcanics who are the result of humans and gods actually like mingling and having children, so there's this whole race of like in-betweens, and our main character is an amputee, and there's magical talking cats, and like, do you see how this just speaks to me on a lot of levels? Like, it just is everything, and I'm so excited to get more volumes. This isn't up higher on the list yet because this is the only volume that I've read. This is the only one that's out so far as of the filming of this video, so I'm excited for more. I hope it stays on the up and up and doesn't kind of go downhill as some graphic novel series do tend to do. So I'm very excited about this as a whole, and it's one of my favorite non-written novels, favorite graphic novels. Then we have We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, and this is again the audiobook. I know that a lot of people were let down by this book or whatever when they read it, so I put this book off for a very long time. I think I read it like 1.5 to 2 years after the original hype, and I loved the audiobook. I'm so glad I read that audiobook because I feel like a lot of people didn't necessarily like her writing style, but the narration style works really well. And I feel like if you don't necessarily see how her writing style is in like text form, it just works. And the narrator is so good at just like tugging on your heartstrings and bringing out all these emotions. And the story is about this family, this really rich family that goes on vacations every year in this like set of islands or whatever, and all of their kind of drama and things that have kind of unraveled over the years. And it's just so interesting because this main character is made so compelling because of this narration. And this is one of the only audiobooks, and books in general, because I don't tend to cry a lot in books, one of the only audiobooks I've ever cried at. Like, it just, because she just pulls at your heartstrings with the things she's going through, like you feel like she's pulling you through it with her. And I just adored it. So if you have not given We Were Liars a chance and you're really skeptical, I encourage you to get the audiobook because it's so well done. Number 2 is another audiobook, and that is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. This is the first Neil Gaiman book that I ever read, and again read on audio, and this is a book that Neil Gaiman himself narrates, and I really encourage you, if you are into audiobooks or if you're not, to read an audiobook that is done by Neil Gaiman because his voice is so amazing, and he does such a good job of reading his own stories and doing those characters. And I have never seen the Stardust movie. I know a lot of people like love the Stardust movie, and sometimes they read the book and they get disappointed or whatever, but I love this story. It really is an adult fairy tale, And the book is really gruesome at times and very mature and very like twisted and weird and stuff, and he does such a good job with his narration and his voice and his accent and everything, just bringing it to life, and I was just so enthralled by it. And I still want to watch the movie, but I know it's very different than the book, but I'm just so glad I read it on audiobook, and I plan on reading a lot of his books that he's read on audiobook, doing it on audiobook, because I just love it. Like, if he hasn't read it, and if he doesn't narrate it, I don't necessarily need to do an audiobook, I can get the physical copy, but if he narrates it, I want an audiobook. He does such a good job. And lastly, of course, we have the Wicca and the Divine graphic novel series. This is my favorite currently running graphic novel series, and it just speaks to me on a lot of levels, again, like Monstrous does, because it has beautiful art, and it's about gods. It's about a pantheon of gods, and they're from all different actual pantheons in the world, from every different culture, from different timelines, stuff like that, and they get reincarnated into the bodies of young adults, you know, like young 20s, I believe, kids usually, and they become superstars while they're here. They perform, and people love them, people worship them, and then they end up dying. And it's just, it sounds like a weird premise, but I just love the characters, love their interactions. I love the mystery that we have forming with this. I just love them. The Chthonic gods in general, which are the underworld gods, are my favorite bunch of trash children. I just adore them so much. And there's just like a number of diverse characters in here, and they comment on the use of gods that are from different cultures and all of this stuff. It's so good. And the most recent volume is supposed to be really amazing as well. The third volume kind of stumbled a bit, but even with it stumbling a bit, I'm still so into this series and like so on board for anything that it does. It's my favorite and I love it. So those are some of my favorite non-written books. Comment down below and let me know some books that you really enjoy that are in different kinds of forms. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!